Lewis Hamilton is getting ready for a big change in his racing career. He's going to drive for Ferrari, which is one of the best racing teams ever. It looks like this seven-time champion has already started doing things that show he really wants to win right from the start. He secretly visited Ferrari's home base, and he's even learning to speak Italian so he can talk better with his new team. But here's something surprising. Lewis has said he might come back to his old team Mercedes someday in the future, even though most people thought that chapter of his life was completely over. So with all this happening, is Hamilton really ready to be super successful with Ferrari? And if he is, what big problems will he have to solve? It's pretty clear that Hamilton and Ferrari are going to be the team that everyone will be watching the most starting in 2025. And there's nothing that gets Formula One fans more excited than seeing this partnership happen. But it doesn't look like everything's going to be as simple as it sounds, even though people remember the smart move Hamilton made with Mercedes back in 2013. Back then, he moved to a new team 1 year before new rules came in, and then he started winning everything when the new time period began. Right now, even though many people think the big change won't happen until December 31st, because that's when Hamilton's deal with Mercedes ends, the seven-time champion has already visited Ferrari's headquarters 5 times. He's been doing this to get to know how Ferrari works inside. Even though he agreed he wouldn't do anything before 2025, you can easily see why Hamilton is doing this move, and whether you like it or not, this is something really important for his time with Ferrari. Hamilton knows how big this change is and how much people will expect from him right from day one. He's not coming here to slow down and retire, as his boss confirmed. He's coming here to win. And with his teammate already expected to become the next champion for Ferrari, it's easy to see that Hamilton might be both loved and hated by Ferrari fans. This depends on whether they like his teammate more than they like the team itself, especially if Hamilton starts winning in his first races. According to an Italian sports newspaper, Hamilton's visit had a really deep meaning behind it. He has already become friends with the mechanics, and most importantly, he's built a working friendship with probably the most important person there, Riccardo Adami, the man who will be his race engineer. This guy's like Ferrari's version of Bono, Hamilton's old engineer. And Hamilton knows how important it is to be friends with this person from day one if they want to be a successful team on the racing track. But besides making friends, Hamilton was also focused on looking at the technical parts of the car, which are also really important for his planned success with Ferrari. Even before his first race in front of the home crowd in Monza, Hamilton said that his feelings are definitely going to be mixed up, and he knows that the fans there will expect nothing less than total winning. So whatever happens, the seven-time champion is slowly but surely getting ready for a high-pressure situation with Ferrari and a direct competition with his teammate, the first person he needs to beat, if he wants to become the most successful driver of all time, even though he won't need as much getting used to time as many people think. Hamilton had one thing on his mind: make sure he understands the main differences between Ferrari and Mercedes cars, like the steering wheels and their controls. For example, several news reports say that Hamilton has already asked the team to move the cockpit position a little bit. These details and feedback show that while many people think he doesn't know as much about car technology as other drivers, Hamilton knows exactly what he wants from a car. The first test that he will have in a Ferrari car will be in 2025 at Fiorano in January, and he will drive the F175, which is the 2022 car. This was a car that Ferrari had a lot of hopes for, but unfortunately bad luck happened and upgrades turned into things that made the car worse. This, however, doesn't seem to be that important for Hamilton getting comfortable with Ferrari, because even though he says that tests like this are important, including the problem caused by not going to the tire test in Abu Dhabi, they have to be done to make sure that both sides are working toward the same goal. Another really interesting thing is how Hamilton has started learning Italian, which shows that it's never too late to add something new to your life and skills. And you can understand why this is happening, because both his teammate and the previous driver have spoken Italian a lot to the team and the media, even though both of them are from Monaco and Spain. Of course, their languages being similar too. Italian might have helped a lot, but that doesn't mean Hamilton shouldn't learn Italian. Actually, it's the opposite. He will feel a lot of pressure to fit in, not just with Ferrari, but also with the Italian media. If you've been following this sport for a long time, and if you look at the Italian media that report about Ferrari, they can be pretty mean sometimes. And if you don't have the right words to say what you mean, you can easily become the person everyone laughs at, and probably get blamed as the main reason for many problems in the team. The report from the Italian sports newspaper wrote, Lewis has been taking Italian lessons for several weeks. For Charles and for Carlos, speaking our language has been really important to fit in with the team and build relationships with the fans and the media. Hamilton seems to want to do everything he can to not be seen as an outsider who doesn't understand the culture, the internal feelings, and everything that surrounds the prancing horse. What is also very interesting is that Hamilton is joining a team that already has a main driver in his teammate. And even though the chances of them becoming the greatest driver pair in the history of the sport are quite real, there is no doubt that tons of pressure will be put on Hamilton to do everything perfectly, besides Hamilton's success. His teammate has 8 race wins and 43 podiums in a car that was fast on Saturdays for most of the time, which does show that once Ferrari fixes its problems and starts performing on Sundays, there will be a lot of tension between these two drivers. Even though their boss believes that the drivers will respect each other on the track. As for Hamilton, he didn't completely close the door for a possible Mercedes return. After he said that he will be racing longer than Alonso, who's currently 43 years old and 4 years older than Hamilton, you can truly see a door in the future which Hamilton might knock on again. Yes, it's a faraway scenario, but it's quite possible. When talking about it, the 7-time world champion said, I do hope, as I said, in many years to come I'll be able to come back and see you all. Big thank you, everybody. But then, again, there are always people who are going to say bad things about Hamilton. And so far the biggest one is the brother of the 7-time world champion Michael Schumacher. Ralph is not a big fan of Hamilton's deal with Ferrari, and feels like there's one certain thing that the British driver is missing and can't get better at, which will come back to hurt Ferrari for their decision to bring in such a good and experienced driver. And that is developing a car perfectly for his driving style. More often than not, Hamilton has depended on his team when it comes to strategies and choices, which cannot be said for drivers like Carlos and Russell, who have always called their own strategies and often went against what their engineers wanted, similar to Verstappen. This doesn't take away anything from the greatness that Hamilton has achieved, but it's something that puts a dark spot on his career as a Formula One driver. And Ralph believes it's exactly this thing that will make Hamilton's Ferrari time a failed one. Explaining more about this topic, the former Formula One driver said, the biggest difference is that Michael, among many other good things, was able to work with engineers to develop a car perfectly for his driving style. Lewis cannot do that. Michael always set the direction for his close friends like Ross Brawn or Zhang Todd. I don't think their boss will be able to help Hamilton just like Toto wasn't able to help him this year. Toto said more than once that a driver should step on the gas and the engineers should develop the car. And this approach was necessary for Mercedes because the drivers apparently couldn't give the right input. Right now, his teammate is the top dog in Ferrari. Everyone in the team knows him. Michael came to Ferrari as the current world champion and was much younger. That's not the case with Lewis. This will have a lot of weight on Lewis' shoulders. And there are tons of other far more important people than Ralph who might be part of Ferrari and who do believe in the same story. And even when you look at their boss's words, they do show the same energy as the ones from Ralph. Whatever the case, the situation is now very hard to understand because until we see Hamilton in his first race with Ferrari, we cannot make conclusions about what will happen. But one thing is for sure, the man is here to win. And the visits to Ferrari's headquarters, despite having a 2024 contract with Mercedes, have proven that he's ready to fit in and start a new chapter in his life as soon as possible. With all of this in mind, do you think that Hamilton and Ferrari will become a quite successful team? And more importantly, do you think that he'll be able to beat his teammate in the same car? Let us know in the comments below, and if you're interested in Ricciardo's shocking return in Formula One,